Hello and welcome to a new Flight Simulator 2024 video. Again, this is a bit of a preview before the game comes out, or the sim I should say. Now, we are really not long away now from the sim being launched. Right now we are on, it's the 11th of November as I record this video, so it's 8 days, 8 full days until the sim is launched. Now, let me just start this video off by saying that I am very much looking forward to the sim, and I am aware there probably will be some issues with it as it starts. Now, this video playing in the background is actually kind of relevant to that point, where I did have a lot of issues with it in the Tech Alpha. So, I'm going to go over a few different things and we'll see what we can kind of come up with and what we can talk about. Now, I think one of the main things to really just touch off with straight away is bugs. Now, probably going to be a lot of bugs in the sim to begin with. Now, it is going to be a brand new sim, and I am fully expecting that it's not going to be absolutely perfect and smooth launch. And I don't think anybody should be under any illusions that it will be. Now, that being said, I do know that things will get better over time, and I don't really expect or hope that there won't be any sort of game-breaking bugs to begin with, but that remains to be seen. Now, I think there's been a few different things in the Tech Alpha that I noticed that I think could become a bit of an issue. Now, bugs being what they are, they're expected. There's going to be something goes wrong. That is a given, and I don't think there's been any game released any time within the last, like, basically forever that doesn't have some sort of bugs or issues. That's to be expected. It's part of the run of the mill for games, basically. Now, one thing I did want to just mention is specifically and really relating to this video right now. Now, it looks pretty smooth and it looks all fine. That is in itself not an issue, but there had been some flight control issues for me in the alpha. Now, the other video that I just put out recently, which was to do with the things that I'm excited for in Flight Simulator 2024. In the background of that video, and again relevant, there is, you can see when I'm doing the career mode intro flights, some of the controls don't work properly and they're overly sensitive. Now, I don't know if that was an issue with specifically just the career mode missions or if it was just a bug in general that was affecting that. I didn't hear anything about it, and I didn't really see anybody else actually having that issue, so I'm unsure. I think actually one of the testers originally at the Grand Canyon event had similar issues with flight controls not responding as they should. But that does bring me on to another point, which could be something of concern, and it would be to do with the actual control bindings for your aircraft. Now, we all know at this point, or at least hopefully you do know, the bindings for aircraft are going to be changeable per aircraft, so your same HOTAS or yoke or whatever you use can be bound for multiple aircraft with all individual settings based on the aircraft, kind of like what's in DCS, for example. And that's a good system, and I think that does work really well. Now, one thing that I'm worried about with that though is that it might be a bit of a pain having to go in and manually copy the flight controls over. Every time in the alpha, I took a new aircraft in which there was only three. There was the Cub, there was the Cessna and the Hornet, and all three of them I had to copy manually the flight controls that I'd customized for one aircraft. Now that doesn't sound like a huge deal, but it's a massive pain for just trying to get started and launching the sim. Now, maybe they'll have a default, this is the bindings that are set up for the game overall, and you can just, use that unless you customize it. I didn't see anything like that in the alpha, so we'll have to just kind of wait and see, I guess. Maybe some other people have had an easier experience than I did, but that was just my experience at the time. Okay, so the next thing I do want to just talk about briefly is connection. Now, I have gigabit per second internet speed, so I don't envision that there will be any issues with downloading or streaming data in the sense of my connection being able to handle it. But I do have concerns about the bandwidth that that Microsoft are going to be able to put out to all of the people that are likely to be trying to try the sim, not only day one, but also after that point as well. Now in 2020, there are occasional dropouts, and when that happens, the worst thing that can happen is you don't get photogrammetry data unless it's already cached, and also you don't have the Azure voice AI, you know, the more realistic-ish sounding ATC, and it goes back to the default text-to-speech, which is absolutely garbage, to be honest. Now, maybe that's going to be a bit more of an issue in 2024 because, as we know, it's an always-on sim. Now, it does remain to be seen how much versatility there is or flexibility when there is a dropout. Now, I have heard the developers saying that if it's only a couple of minutes and you've already cached all the data for, you know, probably filling or somewhere towards filling your rolling cache, depending on the size, you should be able to keep flying without any issues. Now, that's a good thing. However, it hasn't been tested live with multiple people flying. So my main concern is, what if I get halfway through a flight, the connection drops out, and I get to the point where the cache data is gone, especially if you're flying in a faster aircraft? What happens then? We don't really know for sure. Now, maybe somebody does, and if somebody has information out there to go over or cover what that is, then feel free to comment down below and let us all know, because that would be fantastic. And the last thing probably to think about really is just general teething issues. Now, I think that does cover all of the prior topics I've mentioned so far. Probably going to have some intermittent issues with connection, especially on day one. Let's be honest, everybody that plans to play or fly is probably going to take a trip to Kiribati or, you know, New Zealand, maybe, just to get into the sim early, myself included probably, and that is likely to have some sort of issues. Is that going to be something that lasts for a long time, or the issue is going to be resolved quickly? We don't know, but we know that Microsoft are pumping a lot of money into this sim, and a lot of people are really interested in flying around it, so I would expect that they probably have some sort of contingency with that. However, that being said, it is the gaming industry, so it's probably, you know, yeah, I'm just a bit worried about that in general. But hopefully any issues like that are temporary. The flight control issues are probably something that they can iron out as time goes on. Is it the flight control issue a local issue to me? Not sure. Never had any issues with 2020. Well, I mean, I say that, but, you know, minor issues that can be resolved quickly. But is it going to be as straightforward in 2024? Who knows? And again, just to touch on it again, bugs. Now, I think right now, if you're watching this part of the video and if you've seen my original video, this is a bug, because as far as I'm aware, when you're flying an aircraft, if the engine cuts out, depending on how that aircraft is controlled, you would have some form of control. Now, looks like the batteries are all working, things are still running, so if they are running, why was my flight controls locked up completely? Maybe that was just a bug from the sim. Again, I don't know whether it was or it was a feature designed by the developers. Anyway, in this video, what basically happens is the flight controls are completely locked out. There's no way for me to control the aircraft. Now, I could have added more fuel to the aircraft and maybe that would have resolved the issue. Maybe it wouldn't. Don't know, never tried. Basically, that was the end of it, and to be honest, I was about to run out of time to try the alpha at this stage in the day anyway, because it was late at night. So, yes, there are probably going to be issues. Yes, they are probably going to be annoying, and yes, we are probably going to have to put up with some difficulty for a little while after the Sim's launched. But regardless of that, I am still really excited for it. I am really looking forward to the Sim. Now, it's just being realistic. We know things aren't going to be perfect. We know that there's going to be a lot of things that happen that are going to cause us to be pretty annoyed and aggravated. But I think patience is the virtue really when it comes to this, and I think it will be worth it in the long run. Okay, so let me know what you think in the comments section down below. I'm just going to let this aircraft crash itself into the ground. And anyway, look, I hope you have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching. And if you don't mind, please leave a like and subscribe and help the channel grow. There's been a lot of great new subscribers and comments recently, and it's been great reading and interacting with everyone as well. So, like, I hope you have a great day. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.